Nkem, the daughter of a drunken father, harbors a secret. Desperate to learn, she sneaks into the village school, catching glimpses of a world beyond her reach. But when a ruthless king threatens to destroy everything she holds dear, Nkem's hidden brilliance and unyielding spirit ignite a daring journey. Watch as she defies the odds, outsmarts her enemies, and rises from the shadows to become the hero her village never expected. Prepare for an epic tale of courage, intelligence, and unexpected heroism. In Umudike, a picturesque village nestled in a lush, green valley surrounded by rolling hills. The village is a tapestry of thatched roof huts and clay houses, each painted in vibrant hues of red, yellow, and blue, reflecting the rich culture and traditions of its people. Majestic palm trees and ancient baobabs dot the landscape, providing shade and a sense of timelessness. The air is filled with the sounds of chirping birds, rustling leaves, and the occasional distant drumbeat, blending harmoniously with the lively chatter of the villagers. The heart of Umudike is its bustling marketplace and spacious village square, where people gather to trade, celebrate, and share stories. The fields surrounding the village are fertile and well-tended, bursting with crops that sustain the community. At the edge of the village, a clear, bubbling stream flows, providing fresh water and a place for children to play and villagers to gather. Umudike is not just a place, it is a vibrant, living community steeped in history and bound by strong communal ties. In this humble village lived a young girl named Nkem. Her life was far from easy. Nkem's mother had passed away when she was just a child, leaving her in the care of her father, Chidi, a man worn by life and drink, with a scruffy beard and a perpetual scowl. However, he was more often found in the village tavern than tending to his responsibilities. The little farm they owned barely provided enough for survival, and Nkem often found herself doing most of the work. Despite her hardships, Nkem had an insatiable thirst for knowledge. She dreamed of a life beyond the fields, a life where her mind could flourish. But in a village where only the wealthy could afford to send their children to school, Nkem's dreams seemed unattainable. Her father, lost in his drunken haze, neither supported nor encouraged her ambitions. Every day, after finishing her farm work, Nkem would sneak to the village school. She would hide behind the cracked, clay walls, peeking through the windows to catch snippets of the lessons being taught. She listened intently as the teacher taught different subjects, and spoke of distant lands, ancient heroes, and the wonders of the natural world. Her heart soared with each new piece of knowledge, each new story of bravery and wisdom. But Nkem's secret visits did not go unnoticed. The school students often saw her hiding and would alert the teachers. She was caught several times and scolded, yet this did not deter her. Each day, her desire to learn drew her back to the school, and each day, she found a new way to listen in. One afternoon, as Nkem crouched by the window, the teacher told a story of a great heroine who had saved her village through her cleverness. Nkem was captivated, her imagination painting vivid pictures of the tales she heard. She didn't notice the approaching footsteps until it was too late. "Hey! What are you doing here again?" a stern voice called out. It was one of the teachers. Nkem's heart pounded, but she stood her ground, her eyes pleading silently. "You can't keep sneaking in like this," the teacher said, softer now, seeing the determination in her eyes. "If only you could be in class." Nkem nodded, her silence speaking volumes. She would not give up. She couldn't. Her mind craved the knowledge that only the school could provide, and she would return, again and again, no matter how many times she was caught. And so, every day, Nkem continued her ritual. She would finish her chores, endure her father's neglect, and slip away to the school. She would find her spot by the window, her heart and mind open to the world of learning. Her persistence was unwavering, her spirit unbroken. The seeds of wisdom were being sown, even if she had to gather them one by one from the fringes of the classroom. Nkem's simple life was one of hardship, but it was also one of quiet determination and unyielding hope. Little did she know that her relentless pursuit of knowledge would soon lead her to a destiny far greater than she could have ever imagined. In the bustling village school of Umudike, excitement filled the air. It was the day of the annual competition, where students showcased their brilliance in front of the village's esteemed guests, including the royal chiefs. The schoolyard was decorated with vibrant colors, and rows of wooden benches were filled with eager villagers and proud parents. Among the crowd was Nkem, a girl of about 14, with bright, intelligent eyes and a determined expression. Despite her tattered dress and bare feet, she stood at the edge of the schoolyard, peering through the fence. As the event commenced, the right-hand royal chief, Chief Olisa, took his seat of honor, representing the absent Obi, the aging king of Umudike. Chief Olisa was a tall, imposing figure with a stern face softened by wise eyes. He was known throughout the kingdom for his fairness and keen intellect. The competition began with a series of challenges in arithmetic, storytelling, and debates. The students, dressed in their best attire, answered questions with confidence, their voices echoing across the schoolyard. Nkem watched intently, absorbing every word, her heart pounding with a mix of envy and admiration. As the final challenge approached, Chief Olisa stood up, his presence commanding immediate silence. "I have a riddle for you all," he announced, his deep voice resonating. "If you enter a dark room containing a matchbox, oil lamp, a stone, firewood, and paper, and you only have one match in your hand, which one will you light first?" The students whispered among themselves, their faces creased with concentration. One by one, they stepped forward to give their answers. "The firewood," said one boy confidently. "The paper," said another girl, her voice trembling slightly. "The oil lamp," chorused Ada, a tall, confident girl with sharp eyes, and Uche, a stocky boy with a constant smirk. They were both Chief Olisa's children. Chief Olisa listened patiently, but with each incorrect answer, he shook his head slowly. Disappointment clouded his features as he prepared to leave the podium. The villagers murmured among themselves, sensing the challenge had been too difficult. Just then, a commotion erupted near the fence. Two teachers, Mr. Mosu and Miss Addis, were dragging a struggling Nkem toward the center of the schoolyard. She had been caught sneaking in once again. "I know the answer," Nkem shouted, her voice clear and unwavering. Chief Olisa turned, intrigued by the outburst. He raised his hand, signaling the teachers to stop. "Bring her forward," he commanded. Nkem, her face flushed and eyes blazing with determination, was led to the front. She stood tall, despite her ragged appearance, and met Chief Olisa's gaze without flinching. The principal of the school, Mr. Okafor, stepped forward, protesting, "Chief Olisa, she is not a student here. She doesn't belong." Chief Olisa silenced him with a raised hand, eager to hear the girl's answer. "What is your name, girl?" he asked, his tone gentler now. "Nkem," she replied, her voice steady. "The first thing you light is the match." A harsh silence fell over the crowd. Chief Olisa's eyes twinkled with approval. "And why do you say that, Nkem?" "Because, without lighting the match first, you cannot light anything else," she explained, her words confident and precise. Chief Olisa nodded, a smile spreading across his face. "You are correct, Nkem. Well done." He turned to address the crowd. "This girl has shown true wisdom. She sees beyond the obvious, and that is the mark of a great mind." The villagers erupted in applause, and Nkem felt a surge of pride and joy. For the first time, she was recognized not for her circumstances but for her intellect. As the event concluded, the competition's winner was announced. It was Ada, as expected. The most brilliant in the school, but Chief Olisa was never satisfied. He wanted his children to be wise beyond the four walls of the school. Amidst all, the joy in Nkem's heart was immeasurable. The recognition she received and the opportunity that lay ahead were worth more than 1,000 words. Chief Olisa looked at her thoughtfully. Nkem, from this day forward, you will be given the opportunity to attend this school and learn. I will personally see to it. Nkem's eyes filled with tears of gratitude. She had dreamed of this moment for so long, and now, through her determination and quick thinking, she had finally earned her place. As the villagers began to disperse, Nkem stood among the students, her heart swelling with hope and excitement for the future. She knew that this was just the beginning of her journey, and she was ready to embrace it with all her might. The following week, the news of Nkem's remarkable answer to the riddle had spread throughout the whole village, gaining Nkem and her father's respect in their community. However, the stigma of Chidi's drunkenness stayed with Nkem and made everyone refer to her as the daughter of a drunken master. This jesting title spread all over the village, and when it got to the ears of Chief Olisa, he decided to make a big decision to secure her future. He would meet her father and ask that Nkem live with him and his family. On getting to Chidi's abode, a small room with bottles scattered around, Nkem stood nervously beside her father. Chief Olisa addressed Chidi, "Your daughter has a rare gift. She possesses wisdom beyond her years. I would like to sponsor her education, taking her under my wing to develop her skills in leadership and strategy." Chidi, swaying slightly, nodded. "If it means a better life for her, I agree. But what about me? Who will take care of me?" Olisa reassured him, "I will ensure you are provided for. You will not want for anything." Chidi jumped up excitedly. "So that means I can satisfy my daily taste." Nkem looked at him disgusted. With the agreement sealed, Nkem's life took a dramatic turn. The villagers whispered among themselves, amazed at the twist of fate for the girl they had once overlooked. Nkem's new life began at the village school, where she was now a full-fledged student. Her days were filled with academic studies and special sessions with Chief Olisa. While most of the students accepted her, a few envied her sudden rise. Among them was Ada, and her twin brother Uche, Chief Olisa's children. One day, Ada and Uche cornered Nkem behind the school, intending to bully her. "You think you're special because our dad likes you?" Ada sneered. Nkem, calm and composed, replied, "I don't think I'm special. I just want to learn." Ada pushed her, but Nkem, using her intellect, said, "If you really want to challenge me, let's see if you can solve this riddle. There are two girls, one facing north and the other facing south, yet they can see each other without a mirror. How can it be?" As Ada and Uche struggled to answer, Nkem quietly walked away, leaving them frustrated but unharmed. Her evenings were spent at Chief Olisa's residence, a large compound filled with books and artifacts from across the land. In one of their sessions, Chief Olisa taught her a crucial lesson. "Nkem," he said, "no matter how strong a person is, they have a weakness. Find that weakness, and you can overcome whosoever the person might be." Nkem listened intently, absorbing every word. She pondered these lessons, thinking of ways to apply them, but found none. As the years passed, Nkem excelled in her studies, earning top marks and the admiration of her teachers. Her strategic mind and calm demeanor in the face of adversity earned her respect among her peers. Chief Olisa's guidance went beyond academics, teaching her to think critically and lead wisely. Nkem's perseverance and intellect transformed her from a humble farmer's daughter into a respected young woman, ready to face the challenges that awaited her. The villagers began to see her not just as a student but as a beacon of hope. The sun shone brightly over the village school as the villagers of Umudike gathered for a special occasion. It was graduation day, and the atmosphere was filled with joy and anticipation. Nkem, now a young woman of remarkable wisdom and courage, stood proudly among the graduating students. She wore a simple, yet elegant dress, her eyes shining with the promise of a brighter future. She stood beside Chief Olisa, the right-hand royal chief who had taken her under his wing, and his children, Ada and Uche, who were also graduating. As the ceremony commenced, Obi, the wise and aging king of Umudike, addressed the crowd. Today, we celebrate not just the achievements of our students, but the bright future of our village, he declared. His voice was steady, though the lines on his face betrayed the weight of his years and the burdens of leadership. Suddenly, the joyous occasion was shattered by the distant sound of drums and the thunder of hoofs. The villagers turned, their faces filled with fear, as some warriors dressed in white stormed the village. From faraway stories, they knew they were under attack by King Asubike's forces, a brutal king, popularly known to lay small villages in ruins. They descended upon the school. Okoro, the first general, a towering figure with a menacing scowl and scarred face, was known for his brutality and unwavering loyalty to Asubike. He ordered his warriors to attack. Chaos erupted as the soldiers attacked, setting fire to the school and scattering the villagers. Nkem's heart pounded as she searched for Chief Olisa amidst the chaos. She found him fighting valiantly. As the enemy warriors were dragging some female students, he managed to rescue them, but the numbers were against him, and in a devastating moment, Olisa was struck down. Olisa! Nkem screamed, rushing to his side. The chief's eyes, once full of life, now dimmed with the approach of death. "Don't forget all I taught you, my daughter," he whispered with his final breath. Uche and Ada had fled, watching from afar, afraid to go near their dying father. Tears streamed down Nkem's face as she cradled him, the weight of his last words sinking deep into her soul. She didn't say a word but kept weeping over her father figure, Chief Olisa. The attack left the village school and its environment in shambles. The Asubike forces retreated, but not without leaving a chilling message. A messenger approached Obi, bearing a scroll with the seal of King Asubike. The king unrolled it and read aloud, "To Obi and the people of Umudike, I have heard of your land's prosperity in agricultural produce. From now on, I will rule over you and receive tribute from all your produce. If you refuse, I will attack your village in 7 days." The chiefs gathered around their king, their faces etched with fear and uncertainty. They had only heard stories of the legend of how Asubike conquered villages, each tale more terrifying than the last. Obi, his voice firm despite his old age, spoke, "We will not surrender to tyranny. We will defend our land and our way of life." Despite the king's brave words, they remained scared. The stories of Asubike's brutal conquest were legendary, and the thought of facing his wrath sent shivers down their spines. It was the 6th day after the attack, and Nkem was still in mourning. Her eyes were swollen and red from days of crying. Chief Olisa had been buried and she had returned to meet her father, Chidi. She sat in the small room, the grief weighed heavily on her heart. Suddenly, her father, Chidi, grizzled with a permanent scent of palm wine about him, stumbled into the room. He had never been much of a father, often lost in drink, but today there was a rare clarity in his eyes. "Nkem," Chidi began, his voice rough but honest. "I know I haven't been the best father. Maybe not even a good one. But you must remember all that your godfather taught you. He saw something in you, something great. In this situation, what do you think he'll want you to do?" Nkem looked at her father, seeing him in a new light. His words stirred something deep within her. She realized that despite his flaws, he believed in her, just as her godfather had. Chidi then added, "Anyway, the village will be destroyed tomorrow because of our stubborn old king, so this cry is not worth it. You can drink with me if you want." She wiped her tears and took a deep breath, thought of a brilliant idea but hid it to herself. She then joined her father to drink a little. After a few rounds, her father passed out. At that moment, Nkem knew she had to act, not just for herself, but for the memory of the man who had believed in her potential. Nkem made a bold decision. She decided to infiltrate the enemy camp. She knew it was dangerous, but she also knew that King Asubike, the enemy king, was notorious for never harming women but taking them as his slaves. She used this knowledge to her advantage. Disguising herself, she made her way to the enemy's territory under the cover of night. As she approached the camp, Nkem was captured by Asubike warriors, fierce men with hardened faces. They dragged her before King Asubike. He was a tall, imposing figure with piercing eyes and a cruel smirk. He looked at Nkem, reeking of alcohol, with a predatory gaze, his intentions clear. But Nkem was prepared. Okoro tried to advise him to stay away from the women until after the war, but Asubike shut him up. Unknown to them, Nkem had ingested a slow-acting toxin that would affect Asubike once he took her. That night, Asubike took her to his tent. Afterward, she took the antidote, ensuring her own safety. Hours later, while Asubike left the room while Nkem pretended to sleep, Nkem quietly slipped out of the camp and made her way back to Umudike. She arrived at the village just as dawn broke, exhausted but resolute. At the village palace, she requested to urgently see the king and found all the chiefs, and her father, Chidi, crying and pleading with King Isobi to save his daughter. She must have made a foolish decision to confront the enemy in their camp. Please, help her. King Is, a regal man with a wise, weathered face, looked troubled. But before he could respond, Nkem stepped forward, her presence a shock to all. Father, I am here, she said, her voice steady. Chidi and King Is turned to see Nkem standing before them. Relief washed over Chidi's face, and Isobi's eyes widened in surprise. Nkem, where did you go? Your father was worried, the king asked. Nkem quickly explained her plan, how she had poisoned Asubike with a slow-acting toxin and taken the antidote herself. Asubike would be weakened. This is our chance to strike while their leader is vulnerable. Isobi nodded, seeing the wisdom in her plan. He added, so you gave yourself up for this village. He then announced that from today, you are my right-hand chief, and your coronation will begin after the battle. The chief gathered around Nkem, saluting her for her bravery and wisdom. The king, who had already assembled the village guards, led the Gaba, the head of the village guards, ready to defend the city. Kings announced that they would defend but also focus on attacking the enemy, sharing the event of their king already poisoned. Nkem then encouraged the warriors to make Oka their major target as he is the second in command. The stage was set for the final confrontation, with Nkem at the helm, ready to lead her people to victory. The sun hung high over the battlefield, casting long shadows on the faces of the determined villagers of Umudike and the imposing soldiers of King Asubike. The tension was palpable as the two sides faced each other, ready for a clash that would determine their future. Nkem stood at the forefront of Umudike villagers, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and resolve. She wore a simple tunic, her hair tied back in a neat braid, her eyes sharp with focus. King Asubike, a towering figure with a muscular build and a stern countenance, commanded his army with an iron fist. He rode a black stallion, his armor gleaming in the sunlight, a symbol of his power and ambition. Asubike had underestimated the villagers, but his arrogance would soon be his downfall. As the battle commenced, Nkem's plan began to unfold. She had arranged the villagers into strategic positions, using the terrain to their advantage. The guards of Umudike, armed with spears, bows, and makeshift weapons, fought valiantly against the invaders. Their unity and courage were evident as they defended their homeland with every ounce of strength they possessed. In the midst of the chaos, Nkem kept a watchful eye on Asubike. She knew the poison she had administered to herself would only take effect after some time, and she hoped it would weaken him just as she had planned. She had taken the antidote earlier, ensuring she would survive the ordeal. As the battle raged on, Umudike began to feel the effects of the poison. His vision blurred, and a wave of weakness washed over him. He struggled to stay upright on his horse, his strength waning with each passing moment. Panic set in among his soldiers as they saw their formidable leader falter. "Press on!" Nkem shouted, her voice cutting through the din of battle. "For Umudike! For our freedom!" The villagers who were not on the battlefield chorused the same words after her as her words ignited a fire within them. They surged forward with renewed vigor, their shouts echoing across the battlefield. The enemy soldiers, seeing their leader in distress, were thrown into confusion and fear. The once organized ranks of Umudike's army began to crumble. Umudike, desperate to regain control, tried to rally his men. "Fight, you cowards! Fight," he bellowed, but his voice was weak, his commands lost in the chaos. Nkem saw her opportunity. She shouted as the villagers chorused, "Umudike is down." The sight of their fallen leader filled the enemy soldiers with dread, and many began to flee the battlefield. The enemy soldiers, already shaken by the collapse of their leader, were further demoralized by the overwhelming display of unity and strength. As Okoro, the commander, wants to take charge and boost their morale, Gaba shoots him an arrow and he lets out a loud cry as he falls from his horse dead. This made Umudike warriors break their ranks, retreating in disarray, leaving their fallen comrades behind. The battle was won. The villagers of Umudike had triumphed against overwhelming odds. King Umudike, once a symbol of terror and domination, lay defeated, his ambition undone by the wisdom and courage of a simple girl who had risen to the occasion. As the dust settled and the villagers celebrated their hard-fought victory, Nkem stood tall among them, her heart swelling with pride. She had avenged the death of the chief who had believed in her and saved her village from certain doom. The legend of Nkem, the brave commoner, would live on in the hearts and minds of the people of Umudike for generations to come. The village square of Umudike was alive with celebration. Colorful banners fluttered in the breeze, and the air was filled with the joyous sounds of music and laughter. The villagers had gathered to honor their heroine, Nkem, who had bravely defended their land and brought peace once more. Nkem stood at the center of the square, her heart swelling with pride and humility. She wore a traditional dress adorned with symbols of victory, her long, braided hair cascading down her back. The villagers surrounded her, their faces beaming with gratitude and admiration. Isobi, the wise and elderly king of Umudike, approached Nkem. His regal attire glimmered in the setting sun, and his crown of gold and emeralds shone brightly. Despite his age, his eyes sparkled with the joy of a newfound peace. "Nkem," Isobi began, his voice strong and clear, "you have shown remarkable bravery and wisdom. Your actions have not only saved our village but also inspired us all. For this, we are eternally grateful." The crowd erupted in cheers, their voices rising in unison to celebrate their new hero. Nkem bowed her head humbly, her eyes glistening with tears of happiness. Chidi, Nkem's father, stepped forward. His face, lined with the hardships of life, now glowed with pride and love. "My dear Nkem," Chidi, his voice choked with emotion, "you have made us all so proud. Your godfather, Chief Olisa, and your mother would be proud too, watching over you from the heavens." Nkem embraced her father, feeling the warmth of her love and the strength of her support. It was a moment of profound connection, bridging the struggles of the past with the triumphs of the present. Eda and Uche, with their mother, Adana, joined the celebration, to celebrate Nkem, who has become their family. "Nkem," Isobi announced, "in recognition of your bravery and wisdom, your coronation as the right-hand royal chief begins now." The villagers cheered again, louder than before, their voices echoing through the valley. Nkem felt a surge of pride and responsibility, knowing that her journey was just beginning. The villagers sang songs of praise for Nkem, recounting her daring acts and clever strategies. The feast that followed was a joyous occasion, filled with dancing, storytelling, and the sharing of dreams for a brighter future. The celebration continued late into the night, with laughter, music, and dancing filling the air. Nkem stood among her people, not as a simple farmer's daughter, but as a leader, a hero, and a beacon of hope for Umudike. Years passed, and Umudike thrived under Nkem's guidance. The village square, once her triumph site, now stood as her legacy. Nkem, now a respected elder with silver-streaked hair, walked through the bustling marketplace. Her sharp, kind eyes still held the wisdom of her youth, and she stopped to speak with vendors, farmers, and children, embodying the village's strength. Umudike flourished with new homes, schools, lush fields, and prosperous trade. The spirit of unity and hope defined the village. As the sun set, Nkem felt deep contentment. She had saved her village and planted seeds of hope that would grow long after she was gone. Her legacy lived on in the thriving community of Umudike, a timeless legend of wisdom, courage, and enduring hope. And so, the story of Nkem, the brave commoner who saved her village, became a legend. Her name was etched in the annals of history, a testament to the power of courage, wisdom, and the indomitable spirit of the human heart. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the story of Nkem, the brave commoner who rose to greatness. Her legacy of courage, wisdom, and resilience continues to inspire us all. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing tales and cultural insights. Your support helps us bring these stories to life. Until next time, stay inspired and keep believing in the power of determination and hope.